Hello folks, we're out here doing a video today on a little something different than what y'all normally see me doing. Instead of shooting muzzle loaders or rifles, we're changing an oil pan on a Chevy Trax. We knocked a hole in our oil pan Christmas night of all times, pulled over into the parking lot of Buc-ee's, had it towed back in the next morning, but didn't want to bother anybody on Christmas night, so I called my brother and sister-in-law. They picked us up, and I was kind of looking at videos about how to change an oil pan. I couldn't really get anybody right after Christmas. Seemed like all the shops and everyone was closed up around here. So I thought, well, it can't be that hard. And but I got to look in YouTube, and there wasn't anything out there. So I'm going to share with you guys some stuff that if you ever have to, it's going to make it a lot easier. These oil pans on these things are not very thick at all. I mean, you can just about, you know, hit anything in the road, knock a hole in these things. So we lost all the oil in the parking lot. So luckily we had a place to pull over. But this is it. You've got 16 of these little Torx headed bolts, and then you've got two. I can see them right where that wrench is at. Maybe, yeah, two 15 millimeter bolts here in the back. So the 16's all around the perimeter of the oil pan, and then you've got two great big ones back here in the back that holds it on. Now, one thing that made it a lot easier is the exhaust on this thing here. It's got, if I could see it, yeah, it's got almost like a pivot right here, and I thought, well, that's designed to where you can take the oil pan without taking the exhaust off. But it's 5 bolts. You've got 3 here in the front and 2 back to right before it goes into the catalytic converter, and it's easier just to drop that down and it gets out. Those are 13 millimeter bolts. There's 3 in the front, 2 in the back. You don't have to take your oxygen sensor or anything like that off. You can just leave that there because you're not taking it completely off. You're just dropping it down to give you room. But it's a lot easier to do that when you drop the oil pan down. These here in the back, like I say, it's 15 millimeter, the 2 big bolts that goes into the transmission. And these Torx, there was one, there's always that one bolt, you know, in these things. You think, man, some engineer was just trying to play jokes on somebody. And I don't know if y'all can see it, but it was way back in there, and I couldn't get a ratchet on that. But what actually worked was a 8 millimeter metric wrench. Fit that perfect. Now, I wouldn't want to take all of them out, but it worked to get that one there out. But if you ever have to do this, you'll see the one that you can't get to it, so you'll see it. The rest of them you can get to. But I didn't have a Torx socket, so I bought a little set of from O'Reilly's as I came in from work this morning, and there's not a lot of torque on these things. All of them's fairly loose. You just, I mean, it's very easy to pop just by hand. But anyway, there you go. That's the short, dirty version of changing this oil pan out. It's basically just simple. Once I got all the bolts out, one thing, the glue they used from GM was sure enough. I think they could have left the bolts out and it wouldn't have came off. I had to just kind of pry around with the screwdriver on the side of it, and it finally popped right off. But go ahead and take that exhaust off. It makes it so much easier. And it's just, it makes life easier on you. But anyway, maybe this will help somebody. This is actually a 2020 Trax. I don't know exactly. My wife has got a 2018 Trax. She's not run over anything in hers like I run over mine. So, but if it is, this is maybe just to kind of help you out. Like I say, a 15 millimeter, 8 millimeter for that one little rascal there. It's hid behind the manifold. And then 16 of the other ones, I bought this little set, like I say, right there. I think it was like $10, and I was good to go. So anyway, maybe this will help you guys out. Y'all take care and be safe.